Hi, I'm Erwin Parra from Fluke Calibration. We are going to talk about dry wells and temperature calibration. Dry well is a temperature calibrator that generates, so sources temperature and has a lot of ranges. It depends on your application. You can go really cold, you can go medium temperature, you can go really high, depending on your application needs. Usually you use dry well calibrators because they're faster to reach high ranges. So if you need a low temperature, probably you need a bath. But if you go to 300 Celsius or more, you probably need a dry well calibrator. It will get you faster to your setup. We want to calibrate with dry well because we want to go to high temperature, so high range. We want to make it faster. And there's always pros and cons between a bath and a dry well. We want to have this experiment as a dry well because we want to reach high temperature. And there's always pros and cons, like the geometry of the hole. But always keep in mind your application. To use a dry well, always refer to the manual. Don't put any liquids in the inserts, and always check on the manual what is the specs, what are the cutoff ranges. The dry well should be selected by the range that is always dictated by your application. If you want to reach high temperatures, you need a 9173 probably to get 650 Celsius. But if you want to go lower, there's always ranges between minus 200 C, up to 0 C, up to 650 C. So it depends on your application. There's no way we can go to really low temperatures and high temperatures, so we need to keep on the ranges. So depending on the range and the application, there's always models. There's no way one side fits it all. So you need to be covering at least 80-90% of the workload for the first one, and then try to add more dry wells to your collection. There's always like really low temperatures, medium temperatures, really high temperatures. There's always application for each one of those. Depending on your application and the ranges, there's always model for each one of those. If you want to go low, you need to select one range and go one model that goes really low. And there's no way we can do covering all ranges with only one equipment. You need to select a range, pick up the range and select the model, and then add more baths and dry wells to your collection of dry wells and baths. Now you read the manual, let's jump to calibrate your unit under test. In this case, a 1524 reference thermometer with a 9173 dry well. First, you notice you have a indicator, you have a probe, and then you need the dry well. This is the most common application. You're gonna be calibrating your device with the probe against your dry well. There's always more applications, but we're gonna be focusing on the most common application. So once you selected the test points or the set points, let's input one of those in the dry well. In this case, 60 C. And it will go to 60 C. While we wait, the calibrator gets to 60. What is happening inside is hitting the internals, hitting the probe. So you can see this is getting to 60, and this is a little bit slower, it's common. And then you need to wait until it stabilizes. So it will sound emit like a like beep, so you will know it's safe to take the point. Pay attention when the warning sign gets on, because you may get burned. Be careful. Once it stabilizes, we can take the measurement for the dry well. On the unit under test, we can go to the software, or if you have any software, piece of paper to get the measurement now stabilized. So we can move on to the next steps. Next set points, do the same procedure, and then when you finish, be careful, don't remove the probe if the warning sign is on, because you may get burned. Once you follow all the calibration procedure points and you got all your measurements, pay attention, warning light is off, so you can safely remove your probe, you can remove your unit under test, and the calibration is done. And this is how you calibrate a handheld thermometer with a dry well, in this case 9173.